the human immune system. It is the most complex biological system we know after the human brain. It is an inner cosmos, a universe of its own. It consists of hundreds of organs and its own transport network. Every day it creates hundreds of billions of fresh cells, organized like an army, with soldiers, captains, and intelligence officers. It is your biology, protecting you from the microorganisms that want to consume you, and from your own cells that turn into cancer. For you, it is a slight annoyance, a bleeding thumb cut on a dirty twig in the park, but inside it is a catastrophe, an invasion. For nearly all of human history, Chrono, this invasion was a mystery. A wound would get infected, and we blamed bad air or miasma. The reason was invisible. The enemy itself was unknown. Until the 1670s, Chrono, when a Dutch lens grinder named Antonie van Leeuwenhoek, a man with no formal scientific training, first pointed his strange new microscope at a drop of water, he saw life, an entire universe no one knew existed. He called them animalcules. This was the moment Chrono, our inner cosmos, was first revealed. We finally saw the invader. But who were the defenders? When the invasion begins, your cells scream in panic, releasing chemical alarm signals. The first to arrive are the macrophages, the heavy infantry of the immune system. If a cell were a human, the macrophage would be the size of a black rhino. They are ancient stoic cells. They stretch out arms, grab the bacteria, and digest them alive. A single macrophage can eat 100 bacteria before it is exhausted, but there are too many enemies. The macrophages call for reinforcements. The neutrophils arrive. These are the sacrificial warriors of the first line of defense. They are so focused on killing, they are programmed to end their own lives after a few days just so they don't accidentally destroy your body. They arrive, unleashing deadly chemicals at the bacteria. They are careless in their attacks, causing collateral damage to your own cells. Some even activate their final protocol, exploding, casting wide toxic nets made from their own DNA to trap and kill bacteria. While this battle rages, your blood vessels let fluid stream into the battlefield. You notice this as inflammation. This fluid brings a silent killer into the zone, millions of complement proteins, an automated liquid weapon that stuns and kills bacteria by ripping holes into them. But how, Chrono, did we discover these eater cells? The search takes us to the 1880s, Chrono. A Russian zoologist named Élie Metchnikoff. He wasn't studying humans, but starfish larvae. He pricked a larva with a rose thorn. He watched, fascinated, as mobile cells, the larva's version of macrophages, swarmed the thorn and began to eat it. At the time, this was heresy. Scientists believed only chemical signals fought disease. Metchnikoff realized he was watching the inner cosmos at war. He had discovered the first line of defense. But this is just the general defense. What happens when the bacteria are too strong? When the first line is overwhelmed, the intelligence officer arrives. The dendritic cell. It collects samples from the dead bacteria, ripping them into parts, decorating itself in the guts of the enemy. It leaves the battlefield and travels the immune superhighway to the immune headquarters, your lymph nodes. There, it searches for a specific commander, a helper T cell, that has the exact weapon for this specific bacteria. The dendritic cell goes around rubbing itself, still covered in bacteria parts, against every helper T cell it meets. Most are not interested, but after hours something clicks. A T cell recognizes the bacteria parts. This cell is the weapon we need. The dendritic cell activates the T cell. The second line of defense awakens. It is incredibly effective, but it awakens slowly, reluctantly, like a teenager on a school day. It is not fast. The activated T cell begins to clone itself over and over. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 4, until there are thousands. They split into 2 groups. The first group moves to the battlefield. Things are getting out of hand. A tired macrophage is ready to give up. But now the T cells arrive. They whisper chemical signals to the demoralized soldier. In a heartbeat, the macrophage feels a surge of focused energy, a hot, white anger. It knows what it must do. Kill. All over the battlefield, this begins to happen. Meanwhile, the second group of T cells activates another soldier, the B cell, your antibody factory. But, Chrono. How did we discover this specific army, this lock and key system? The search takes us to 1900, Chrono. A German scientist named Paul Ehrlich. He was haunted by a simple question. How does a toxin like tetanus attack only the nervous system? And how does the body know how to fight back only against that toxin? He proposed a lock and key theory. He said the body must have side chains that grab the toxin. He called them antibodies. He called them magic bullets. This was the Chrono, historical. Discovery of our cosmos, scientific second line of defense. Back in your body, the activated B cells begin cloning. They pump out 2,000 magic bullets, antibodies per second. This tiny army floods the battlefield. The antibodies clump the bacteria together, stunning them. The defenseless victims are massacred by the soldiers. The tide turns. The war is won. As the battle ends, most soldiers activate their suicide protocols to save resources, but not all of them. A few helper T cells remain. They turn into memory cells. They will guard this tissue for years, making sure the same bacteria will never again gain a foothold. A few B cells also stay, producing a low amount of antibodies, making you immune, perhaps for the rest of your life. This is the fundamental story of Chrono and Cosmos. The story of our cosmos, science, is the 4-billion-year-old evolutionary wisdom that built this army. The story of our Chrono, history, is the 400-year human hunt to discover that this army even existed. We are not just a body. We are an inner cosmos defended by an ancient invisible legion. Until next time. If you wish to support our mission of mapping these complex journeys through history, Chrono, and science, cosmos, consider subscribing, or, if you are able, support us directly. It allows us to continue building this library of knowledge. Thank you for watching.